A woman reading a story from a book may not appear unusual at first glance. This reading took place in Kathmandu, capital city of Nepal. We had gathered in a large meeting room of the National Transition to Peace Complex to launch a book. No widely known authors were present. No bestseller expectations or national signing tours loomed on the horizon. Yet the moment held a sacred quality. The cultivation of peace, found in the lives and relationships of real people, requires a journey into the below and beyond of what first meets the eye. Through the faces of the four women standing before us, nervous as they peered out into an audience, flowed the pieces of their lives, life stories. Their once upon a time recounted the unspeakable, told by those no longer welcome in public, the ones who lost husbands in the war, single women. In rural Nepal, to fall into the category of widow, when you already are poor and low caste, is to fall off the map of social support with no place to call home, at the edge of acceptance in the family of marriage and physically distant from the family of birth. For single women in Nepal, violence steals and disappears the basics of life, husbands and children, rice and lentils. Hours wash into years staring stigma in the face, outcast, alone, invisible. How does one start to address such a challenge? National leaders proposed noble commissions. Truth disappeared. Reparations. Beautiful words on paper. Agreed, signed, and sealed. And there the words stayed. On paper. Mahila, Shakti, Bikash, Kendra, Nepal, a movement of rural women, followed a simpler intuition. In their sisters, they noticed the poetry of survival. Ask women to share their wisdom. Tell their life story. Let their lives speak. When they gathered the first groups of single women for conversation, two questions emerged. What is a life story? And do I have one? The idea their life held anything of merit, much less wisdom worthy of someone's attention, the notion someone would listen, receive their spoken words with dignity and care, defied their experience. But once gathered in small circles, something of the soul spoke. Mero Maite, they would call it, my mother's home. The circle held the return to their mother's home they had long left and could no longer reach. Now women who could not speak their name in the early days of the circle stand in a public meeting in the national capital and read, slowly, word by word. Their stories had reached written page. I have sat more than once with presidents and prime ministers, generals and commanders, stroking names on paper to silence their guns and promise to change. But I had to cover my eyes when Krishna took my pen and signed her name in deliberate strokes below her photograph in my copy of the book. A different truth commission. One signed by the poet with the courage to tell her life story. Remember this the next time you have the courage to look into the face of a homeless man, a street kid, a destitute widow. An artist lives here. One who has learned a thing or two about truth, justice, and the human spirit.